Hello and welcome to the Bober Academy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bober, 8-year NFL veteran, 4 years with the New York Giants, 4 years with the Chiefs. Had the honor of starting at every position on the O-line while I was in the NFL. I'm also the founder of the Bober Academy, where our mission is to train and develop superior linemen to dominate on the gridiron. And of course, this fall, I'm the offensive coordinator, run game coordinator, I should say, and offensive line coach at Creighton Prep. So football abounds here in the Bober household, but we're continuing our series that we've been doing about our lineman of the week. We're joined by the Wolves of Elkhorn North. Before we get started, just want to give a quick reminder. If you are watching this video on YouTube, right down below there is the button for you to subscribe to our channel. We'd love for you to become a subscriber, see all the great content we put out there. Of course, our handle is at Bober Academy everywhere on social media. So if you're seeing this anywhere out there, be sure to hit that like button, retweet all the stuff that they do out there. And if you're listening to this podcast on your podcast device, be sure to subscribe to our channel. So like I said, we're continuing our Lineman of the Week series, and I love bringing in linemen from all over. This one hits a little close to home here in Elkhorn, Nebraska. So we have some dudes on from the Elkhorn North Wolves who are off to an amazing 3-0 start. Just a program that has come out of nowhere, just starting 5 years ago, and they're serious playoff contenders and looking really good this year. So I have one of the offensive line and defensive line coaches, Justin Carraher, up here. And of course, we have a couple of our dudes on the offensive line, right? Both seniors, both captains. We have the center, Mason Murphy, and we have our tackle in DN, AJ Paladino. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us, man.
Awesome. Well, this is just kind of a fun podcast that I started doing a few years ago. And the point was that, offensive linemen, we don't ever get our name in the paper. We don't have any stats. No matter how good we are, it's kind of like all the glory goes to everyone else, but we all know where the real work is. It's down in the trenches. So I wanted to highlight guys like you guys here and let you guys have a voice, talk about the great stuff that you're doing. I'd say even offensive line coaches, man, we get, my old coach says that we're like mushrooms. They put us in the dark and we smell like, what. So anyway, so the Wolves, right? So the Wolves are off to a great start, 3-0. This is coming off a great run last year where they were 10-2, losing to eventual champ Bennington. Their first playoff appearance was just this year before. So they're an up-and-coming program. They've kind of established themselves in Class B. So far this year, they beat up on a few teams. Pius, who was a tough opponent, they came through and beat them, but then they got after York and Ralston and have a really big game coming up against Gretna this week. So Coach Carraher, let's start with you. Talk about the season so far. I know you and I talk all the time, but you guys are off to, you're 3-0, but you kind of mentioned that you feel like you're just kind of starting to come together of what you guys can be. Tell us about how it's gone so far and what you think.
Yeah, I also do the off-season training with these guys over the summer. So it's always fun. You get, in high school we get different group of guys, or you're rotating a new group of guys in every 4 years. So this group, a lot of these guys are younger guys, and these guys that we have on today, they're seniors that have worked their butt off all summer, and they've worked for 3 years to have their turn to be the dudes. I just think that the hard work that they put in the off season is starting to show now. And I think that Coach Syme, who is our main O-line coach, has done a great job with these dudes up front. It's a different football team than it was a year ago, but I think we're a great football team. I think, the guys that it's the guys that we want out there, I think that everybody is together. The group is together. I think these guys have a lot of fun playing football. For the first 3 games, I think, it's always kind of tough. That first game is always kind of tough. You never really know how it's going to go, and you're kind of working out some of the kinks. And the idea would be that by the end of the season, you're playing your best football. So that's what we're trying to do, is just hit the next game and be better than we were a week ago. And I hope that I know these guys feel like we've gotten better every week. So Gretna is a tough team this week, and we've done the work, and tomorrow we got to go play football. So
Yeah, the hay is in the barn, as they say, right?
yeah.
Nice. Well, Mason, let's talk about you coming in playing center, right? So pretty big shoes to fill. It's not like you're a rookie or anything like that. Coming into your senior season, you're a team captain. Tell me about, kind of how the season's gone for you and the guys up front so far.
I think it's gone great, just my boys just out there just playing football. We're just doing the best we can. Just listening to our coaches. It's a fun time.
Nice. I get the feeling that Mason has, more comments than that, but he looks like kind of the guy that I don't know, just kind of is the guy that, he's going to come up with something really funny all the time. That's just kind of the look I get on him. All right. How about you, AJ? Again, a senior captain. That's a really big deal. I was telling coach before, I've been elected captain before when I was playing football, and I've had a lot of honors, but being named captain is a huge deal. What does it mean to you, AJ, to be one of the guys that your teammates selected as your leaders?
Well, I think it's an honor that they chose me because they can see me as a guy to look up to, and anyone can ask me a question and I'll help them with anything. It's just really nice to have.
Now, AJ's also starting on defense, right?
Yep.
Defensive end. He's kind of a war horse. Just kind of stays on the field. That's tough duty, man. You definitely have to kind of be prepared. You got to be in shape. You got to be ready to go out there, and then you got to switch mentalities for offense and defense, right? It takes a little bit of a challenge. I know that. Okay, so let's talk. So I know you play defense, but just so you know, we're going to talk about offense here. That's what we do. I play offense. I haven't played defense since I was in high school. Coach, let me. I'm going to ask you first. Tell me about your offense and what you guys got going. And I know Coach Simon really well. We've talked for years. We've gone over technique. I've worked with so many of your guys at my Bober Academy. But tell me about your offense, what you guys are doing, what you're leaning on, and how you guys are starting to kind of produce as an offense. What do you think you guys are doing well? What are some things you're going to work on?
I think that if you look at the 4 years that we have been a school and been a team, this is going into our fifth year here. I feel like the offense has definitely evolved over that time. I think that this year, I think that the way that I feel it is I do feel like we're a more complete football team across the board, just with the ability to run the ball and throw the ball. So, we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but we have a great running back. These guys up front, they're a bunch of dogs, and for the guys the guy that's quarterbacking, Ethan Beachy, if you're familiar with him, he's another guy that he came in for us last year when our starting quarterback was banged up. So, and he did a really good job last year. He spins it real well. He can throw the ball. And then obviously we try to balance that all out with Jet running the ball. So we run some gap stuff and we run some zone stuff. And I think that both of them, Coach Syme, I think Coach Syme does a really good job articulating it to these guys, and it's a smart group. I always talk about the O-line and the D-line. It's not a dumb guy position. They need to know a lot of things, and we see a lot of different fronts throughout the season. So the amount of communicating that goes on amongst those guys is pretty incredible, and I think that's that's what we'll see tomorrow, and it's what we'll see for the rest of the year. These guys are just getting better at it.
Yeah, so it's funny. We talked to so when O-line coaches get together between you and I or myself and Coach Syme, we sit there and talk about the footwork and hand placement on wide zone, and we talk about duo and running all plays like that. So I know you guys are running those plays out there and kind of getting after it. And him and I have gone back and forth. He's even sent me, and we've gone back and forth sending each other like plays that we like, to each other. So
Yeah.
he sent me a whole list of all the things he got. Just so you know, I won't reveal this because we don't.
I can't imagine how many texts there, the scheme texts amongst you two.
Yeah, we're kind of nerds like that. You know, I'm not going to tell you. He gave me one play that is actually in our game plan for tomorrow. So I'll have to let him know and show it to him how it works. But okay, let's talk. AJ, tell me about your running game, right? You got a pretty fast dude in the backfield. I know that. Tell me about like the kind of plays you like to run up front and how you guys get after it. I mean, are you guys like a team that wants to come out and just kind of like establish the run and then maybe do some passes, or you are balanced, and which of those plays do you like better?
Yeah, I would say that running wide zone is definitely my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Just get out there and throw a couple guys maybe. And I would say we are pretty strong in the run game because Jet carries us a lot in that because he's a quick little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then Alex Uckman too.
Yeah.
He's a fast, strong guy too. And yeah.
Nice. Coach Simon, I talked about it so much. It was funny because it was a few years ago. Him and I were talking about it. And I like I said, I taught him wide zone. I'm not to say that, but him and I talked about implementing it and how we would implement it. And, you know, at that point, we started to talk about aiming points and stuff like that. And we both started using it in a certain way. And it's a staple of our offense too. I love it because it stretches the defense and makes them run, play action set up off of it. And there's so many things you can do. I just love it. How about you, Mason? Right. I wanted to specifically ask you about your quarterback because the center and quarterback have a special relationship, right? When I played center in the NFL, some of my really best friends were the quarterbacks, and it's a pretty tight position because you're the quarterback of the O-line, but the quarterback relies on you so much to get those guys lined up and point out the mic and all those kind of things. But tell me about Beachy. Tell me what he's like in the huddle. Tell me what if you have any funny stories about him, that'd be cool too. I mean, he's a quarterback. He gets all the publicity. So feel free to share some stuff about him and the good things about what he does for your offense.
Yeah, I mean, I love him. He's my boy. He's a dog on and off the field. I mean, hang out with him. We go get food. We're just trying to get our bond closer, like in the huddle. He can tell when we're kind of feeling sorry for ourselves sometimes or maybe tired. And he always says something that'll pick us up and get us going. So it's just great to have a guy like that behind you all the time.
Yeah, so he's kind of a little bit more vocal leader, just kind of reads the temperature. Now, if he's smart, hopefully he's buying you the food. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do is you get your quarterback to get you guys stuff because he depends on you guys. You know what I mean? And
yeah, you got us some pretty cool shirts there.
Yeah, so I block better when I'm fed there, Mr. Quarterback. So that's a way to do it. That's awesome, guys. Okay, Justin, Coach Carraher, tell me, we got a couple dudes on here, but tell me about your O-line. Tell me about these guys right here. I want to hear your perspective of what they do, what they bring to the table. But tell me about your other guys too, and who you're using and how you're using them up front.
I think if you look at the guys that we had a year ago, we had a lot of older guys. You kind of mentioned that, and some of those guys were great big guys, and I think that this group, I just feel like we're using their athleticism to our advantage. I think that these guys are good athletes. We still have some big dudes. We have Jaden Cohen Camp. He's a monster in the J train. We have Johnny Tran, another guy that helps with us on the D line as well. Ben Madrigal, if you're familiar with Ben, Ben's a big, strong dude, man. And like I said, the guys that we have on the outside will run a wide zone, so they got to run off the ball. So, so I think that like I said, I love the guys we have, man. I think that the guys we have this year, they're athletic dudes. When you can do some of that gap stuff where you have to be down and dirty and in the trenches, and then you can also run off the ball and be athletic, you got to have guys that can do both. So I don't know. That's my assessment of those dudes. We have a lot of really good guys. I didn't mention them all, but the guys that we have I said, I think Coach Syme does a really good job of putting guys in positions to be successful. And we do a rotation. So, AJ is not out there the whole game.
Yeah.
He probably wants to be, but like Mason, you're taking a lot of snaps, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's out there a lot of the time. So,
center's got to stay on the field, man. Him and the quarterback.
Yeah, the center, and we consider him an honorary defensive lineman as well. So there's not very many of those guys, But yeah, it's a good crew. I think that I don't know if I answered your questions, but we got some different guys that do different things, and Syme puts them in positions to be successful. And I know, talking about Beachy, he's a really hyped guy,
Nice.
but he's calm when he needs to be. And I think that his relationship with these guys up front, they're there. It's a really, really tight group. And I think that is a super important thing. Not just like the O-line and the quarterback and the running back, but I think that the group, our team, it feels, year by year, every group has a little different personality. I think this is just a really, really tight group of guys. They like being around each other. And when football gets fun, it's when it gets real fun is when everybody's on the same page and having a good time together. So
I love it. Yeah, it's football's, you go through so much to get here. You got to have some fun with it and kind of embrace that and go through it together. Now, AJ, as a senior, as a captain, tell me about some of the goals you guys want to achieve. I know last year you guys had such a great year, and then you go up and lose to the eventual champs. I went out to that game, and that was a heck of a game. It really was. It was cold. It was windy, and you got that far. Now, you have several games to play, but when you talk about the seniors, the captains, tell me about what you guys want to accomplish this year.
This year, we really want to make it a state championship, of course, like every other team.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say we mainly focus on the team that we're playing that week. Just go game by game.
I love it. You can have all the goals you want in the world, but you got the opponent right in front of you. You got to take care of them. Okay, Mason, since you appear to be kind of a funny guy, tell me some funny stuff about your O-line. I mean, you got your boy AJ over here. I mean, feel free to. And is there any funny stories, any quirks? Who's the weird one? Who's the smelly one? I mean, who's the nerdy one? I mean, tell me a couple inside things that you want to share with the world about your O-line.
Yeah, I didn't mention them all, man. I didn't mention them all. So if you want to throw some names out there, get
throw anyone you want under the bus.
Yeah.
It's perfectly normal.
I'd say if I had to pick out a stinky one, it'd have to be J-Train, but I'd say Sam Steffen, Johnny Tran. With them, they're my boys. So they're some funny guys. They bring some laughter. Yeah.
I mean, he's not sharing much. He's kind of holding back. I bet you behind the scenes, he says all. He says all. Okay, so before we let you guys go here, big game against Gretna, right? And we played against Gretna last year when they're in Class A. They still bring a lot of dudes back, right? I know their line's big. I've worked with a lot of their guys. Coach, tell me about your week of practice leading up to the Gretna game, and then how you guys feel about going in to play the Dragons.
I love that AJ just said that we just worry about the next team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you look at our district, we have a bunch of really good teams in our district. So by the time the end of the season gets done, you'll have played a lot of really good teams. So if you're looking too far ahead, you can get yourself in trouble. So I commend AJ for being a good captain and worrying about the team ahead of us. But our week of practice was great. I think that we have yet to get into a week of practice. It's always tough when you have less days. We're playing a Thursday night game. But I still feel like our practice was better this week than it was last week. And that'll be our goal next week. So is to have a better practice next week than we did this week. in terms of like the way that, things go week by week, like, what do you guys think? How do you think it's going to go? I think I always feel like with high school football in Nebraska, if you show up and you play your best football, you have a chance to win the football game, and that's what we do week by week. So,
nice.
Is that a Switzerland answer? I don't know. I think
no, that's great. I mean, well, you can only do so much. You can't say anything until you go play the game. How about you guys? Either of you can answer. Like, tell me about the week of practice. A big game against Gretna, right? A team that's coming from Class A. They end up now. It's a little dangerous because they got beat up pretty bad last week by Blair, who kind of came out of nowhere. But they're still a really good football team. You know that they're not going to be satisfied from what happened last week. Between the players in the huddle and the locker room, what's been the message with you guys talking to each other?
I'd say we all just want to play our brand of football and go out there and win. I mean, they're a good team. They're a good opponent. They've put up some numbers. They got some big guys, but I feel like it's just not like every other week, but we just do our work. Just go out there, play our brand, and hopefully win.
Nice. How about you, AJ? What do you guys think about the game coming up?
I would say it's going to be a good game. They got some big guys. They're a good team, and it's just going to be a good game. We really built this week in practice, got better than we did last week, and hopefully we can keep going up.
Nice. I love to hear that you had a great week of practice. And, I can tell you from a coach's side, it's hard to get guys to understand that, you're not going to perform on Thursday or Friday night unless you go out there and have a great week of practice. So we push it all the time. I know your coaches do too. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, do you guys have a motto this year? I mean, is there a saying that you put on a shirt or anything like that? I don't know if you guys do that or not, but a lot of teams do. What's your motto this year?
You know what? I have a motto, don't I, guys?
Is it this year's or is
it's on a wristband? Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, so it's compete every day. So,
nice.
I think that these guys might have their own motto. I feel like Mace has some like motto that you don't want to hear on the podcast. He's a pretty funny dude, but
it's just for the huddle.
But yeah, so compete every day to me, just means that not just that we're competing as football players, but we're competing to be good students in the classroom, that we're competing to be good sons and daughters and husbands and brothers and sisters. I think that you just wake up every day and you're trying to be competitive at the things that you're doing. And that's just something that kind of stuck with me a couple years back. And we hand out wristbands to the group in the weight room and sometimes at practice when we feel like a guy's gone above and beyond to be a competitor. So that's the.
I love it. I love it.
It's the unofficial motto. The unofficial motto.
Hey, that's a great motto for anyone. If a coach ever said to me, I had a coach one time that I wasn't doing so good, and all he said was compete. And it's something just like lit a fire in me because I'm like, I didn't want to be known as a guy who didn't compete, didn't go hard, didn't give everything I have. So I can 100% appreciate that. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know, I've been around football, all different levels, and I am so impressed with what Elkhorn North does. You got great coaches. You got great kids. You got a great community. It's just right down the street from where I'm sitting right now. And I know Elkhorn's proud of you guys because you guys do a heck of a job and you make this whole community proud. So I just want to wish you guys the best of luck this week and go throughout the season. If I ever can play on a different night besides or coach on a different night besides you guys do, I'll come see you guys because I definitely love being around your program. You guys are blessed with great coaches. You really are. You guys have a great community. So, hey, before we get going, just remember, if you're watching YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the Bober Academy YouTube channel. Of course, all of our social media out there at Bober Academy. Feel free to share, ask questions, anything you guys need. And of course, subscribe to our podcast. So gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on, sharing about your program. I love having O-line on here because we're always the best, the smartest, the best looking, all that kind of stuff. So love having you guys on. I want to wish you guys best luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, Coach.
Bober.
All right, guys. Good luck.